If you have listened this far, you already understand something most postpartum conversations never touch. Healing after birth is not about speed. It is about completion. In this second part of Sacred Postpartum, we move beneath the surface of recovery and into the systems that quietly decide whether the body truly settles or remains in a state of adaptation. Here, we explore stillness, digestion, nervous system safety, the role of support, and what it means to close the postpartum window properly. These chapters are not about doing more. They are about allowing the body to finish what it began, so that strength, energy, and resilience can return without force. Take your time as you listen. This is where integration begins. Chapter 6. Stillness is not inactivity. Stillness after birth is deeply misunderstood. Modern culture treats stillness as absence, as laziness, as giving up, as something to get out of. Ayurveda sees it differently. Stillness is not inactivity, it is active repair. After birth, the body is not asking to be entertained, stimulated, or improved. It is asking to be left alone long enough to finish its work. That work is invisible. You cannot see hormones recalibrating. You cannot feel nerves rewiring themselves back into safety. You cannot track digestion slowly finding its rhythm again. But these processes require one thing above all else: low demand. Stillness creates that. When stimulation is constant, conversation, screens, visitors, decisions, noise, the nervous system stays alert. Not because something is wrong, but because it must stay ready. Ready to respond, ready to manage, ready to adapt. That readiness costs energy. And after birth, energy is not abundant. The postpartum body is already spending energy to heal tissues, regulate fluids, rebuild blood, and stabilize heat. When stimulation continues on top of that, the body does not protest loudly, it adapts quietly. Adaptation looks like tension. Holding yourself together, staying on, feeling wired but tired. You may still sleep, but the sleep is light, restless, incomplete. Ayurveda does not call this rest. It calls it unfinished repair. Stillness allows the nervous system to downshift, and only when it downshifts does healing move from survival mode into completion mode. This is why doing less after birth often results in more energy later, not immediately, not dramatically, but steadily. Stillness does not mean lying still all day. It means reducing inputs, fewer decisions, fewer explanations, fewer expectations. It means allowing the body to stay inward instead of constantly turning outward. After birth, the body is naturally oriented inward, toward repair, toward reorganization, toward containment. When we force it outward too soon, through social pressure, productivity, or even well-meaning engagement, the body tightens to cope. Tightening is not strength, it is compensation, and compensation always costs more energy than true rest. Many women struggle with stillness because it feels uncomfortable. Rest can feel unsettling when you are used to being useful. When your identity has been built around capability, slowing down can feel like disappearing. Ayurveda understands this. It does not ask you to disappear. It asks you to pause being everything for everyone else. Stillness is not withdrawal from life. It is investment in your future capacity to live fully. Think of it this way. You are not stopping the process. You are letting it finish. Concrete that is left undisturbed sets strong. Concrete that is walked on too early cracks silently. The cracks may not show right away, but they weaken the structure underneath. Stillness after birth is the same. When it is honored, the body stabilizes. When it is ignored, the body adapts by bracing. That bracing becomes chronic tension. That tension becomes pain. That pain becomes normal. Ayurveda never called this normal. It called it preventable. Stillness is medicine because it reduces demand. Reduced demand frees energy. Free energy completes healing.
You do not need to earn stillness. You do not need to justify it. You do not need permission. The body after birth is not asking politely. It is asking clearly. When you listen, the body responds with resilience. When you ignore it, the body remembers. Stillness is not inactivity. It is intelligence, and it is one of the most powerful forms of care you will ever give yourself.
Chapter 7. Digestion decides everything. After birth, the body does not rebuild itself directly. It rebuilds itself through digestion. This is easy to miss because modern recovery focuses on muscles, hormones, and appearance. Ayurveda looks somewhere quieter, somewhere less visible. It looks to the gut. After birth, digestion is weak, not broken, not failing, just depleted. Blood, fluids, and heat have been used to bring life into the world. That expenditure leaves less available for digestion. When digestion is weak, the body cannot fully extract nourishment, even from good food. You may be eating, you may feel hungry, you may even be eating well, and still the body may not be rebuilding properly. This is why Ayurveda does not equate appetite with digestive strength. Digestion is not just about what you eat, it is about how well the body can receive it. When digestion is compromised, healing slows quietly, tissues rebuild incompletely, energy remains unstable, emotions feel more fragile than expected. This does not happen because the body is failing, it happens because digestion is overwhelmed. Cold, rushing, and stimulation all weaken digestion further. Cold contracts the gut. Rushing diverts energy away from repair. Constant alertness keeps the nervous system from supporting digestive function. Digestion and the nervous system are not separate. A body that does not feel safe does not digest deeply. This is why warmth and stillness matter so much after birth. They do not just feel comforting, they create the internal conditions digestion needs to recover. In Ayurveda, digestion is called Agni, the inner fire. After birth, that fire is low, not absent, not extinguished, simply needing protection. When Agni is protected, it grows stronger naturally. When it is challenged too soon, it flickers. Weak digestion does not always announce itself loudly. It shows up as bloating, irregular appetite, heaviness, or fatigue after eating. Sometimes it shows up as emotional instability or mental fog. The connection is real. Digestion is the gateway to nourishment. Nourishment is the gateway to tissue repair. Tissue repair is the foundation of strength. When digestion is strong, healing becomes efficient. When digestion is weak, the body works harder for less return. This is why Ayurveda emphasizes warm, simple foods after birth, not because they are trendy, not because they are restrictive, but because they cooperate with a system that is already working hard. Warm food invites digestion to engage. Cold food puts it on the defensive. Defense wastes energy. Cooperation restores it. The postpartum body does not need complexity. It needs consistency. Regular meals, predictable rhythms, foods that feel grounding rather than stimulating. When digestion is supported, energy stabilizes. When energy stabilizes, emotions settle. When emotions settle, the nervous system relaxes. Everything is connected. Many women are surprised to learn that lingering postpartum issues, fatigue, anxiety, weakness, even pain, often trace back to digestion that never fully recovered. Not because it was ignored, but because it was challenged too early. Ayurveda teaches patience here. Digestion after birth is not something to push, it is something to protect. You do not force a fire to burn brighter by adding cold air. You protect it until it grows strong on its own. This is not about perfection, it's about timing. When digestion is allowed to rebuild first, everything that follows becomes easier. Healing speeds up.
Energy returns more steadily, the body feels more trustworthy again. Digestion decides everything because it sits at the center of recovery, quiet, unassuming, powerful. Care for it gently now, and it will carry you forward with strength. Ignore it, and the body will compensate in ways that cost more later. The body does not punish, it adapts, and adaptation, when it happens too early, always leaves a mark. Support digestion now, and you support the foundation beneath every other system. This is where true recovery begins.
Chapter 8. The nervous system sets the tone. After birth, the nervous system becomes the quiet decision maker. It decides how safe the world feels. It decides how deeply you rest. It decides how much energy you have access to. And it makes these decisions long before you are aware of them. Many women are told that postpartum anxiety is emotional or psychological or something to manage, suppress, or talk through. Ayurveda offers a different understanding. It says the nervous system after birth is exposed, not damaged, not dysfunctional, simply open. Birth requires an enormous release of energy. When that energy moves outward, the system that normally contains and protects the nerves becomes temporarily thin. This is why sensations feel stronger, why emotions arrive more quickly, why overstimulation becomes exhausting. The nervous system is not overreacting, it is unprotected. When protection is present, warmth, stillness, rhythm, the nervous system settles on its own. When protection is missing, it adapts by staying alert. Alertness feels like readiness, but over time it becomes vigilance. A vigilant nervous system does not rest easily. Even when you sleep, it stays half awake, listening, monitoring, anticipating. This is how exhaustion becomes chronic. It is not that the body refuses to relax. It is that it does not feel safe enough to do so. Safety is not created through reassurance or willpower. It is created through repetition. Warm meals at predictable times, gentle routines, limited stimulation, a sense that nothing urgent is required. These signals tell the nervous system one thing: you are allowed to settle. When that message is received consistently, the system downshifts. Digestion improves, sleep deepens, energy becomes more stable. When it is not, the nervous system compensates by tightening the body. Muscles brace, breath becomes shallow, attention stays outward. You may feel capable, you may function well, you may even appear strong, but inside, the system is working harder than it should. Ayurveda does not call this resilience. It calls it unnecessary effort. Many women carry this effort for years without realizing it. They adjust to the tension. They normalize the fatigue. They accept the background anxiety as part of life. Ayurveda says this began earlier than you think. The postpartum period is when the nervous system decides whether the world is safe enough to soften or whether it must stay on guard. That decision is not permanent, but it is influential. When the system learns safety early, it becomes flexible. When it learns threat, it becomes rigid. Rigidity protects in the short term, but it exhausts in the long term. This is why postpartum care is not about stimulation, motivation, or distraction. It is about containment. Containment tells the nervous system it does not need to scan the environment. It does not need to anticipate. It does not need to prepare for impact. Contained systems heal faster. The nervous system after birth is not asking for control. It is asking for support. Support looks like fewer decisions, less noise, less pressure to respond. It looks like being held, physically, emotionally, and energetically. When that happens, the nervous system settles, and when it settles, everything else follows. Energy becomes accessible again. Emotions feel less volatile.
the body feels like a place you can rest inside. This is not about eliminating stress forever. It is about teaching the nervous system that safety exists. Once it learns that, it remembers. And a nervous system that remembers safety becomes one of the greatest resources a mother can have, not just now, but for years to come.
Chapter 9. Help is medicine. After birth, help is not a convenience. It is medicine. This can be difficult to accept, especially in a culture that celebrates independence. Many women are praised for doing everything themselves, for managing, for coping, for handling it. Ayurveda does not admire this. It questions the cost. After birth, the body is not designed to carry responsibility alone. It is designed to be supported while it rebuilds. When that support is missing, the body adapts by taking on more than it should. That adaptation looks like strength, but it is actually expenditure. Every decision you make after birth costs energy. Every explanation, every plan, every moment of holding things together. This is why even small tasks can feel overwhelming. It is not because you are incapable. It is because decision-making draws from the same reserves the body needs for healing. Ayurveda understood this long before modern psychology named cognitive load. When a mother is protected from decisions, her energy is preserved. When she must manage constantly, healing becomes secondary. This is why traditional postpartum care emphasized being cared for, meals prepared, spaces managed, needs anticipated, not to infantilize the mother, but to free her body to finish its work. Receiving help is not emotional weakness, it is physiological intelligence. Many women resist help because it feels uncomfortable, because asking feels like burdening others, because receiving disrupts the identity of being capable. Ayurveda does not argue with these feelings, it simply explains their consequence. When help is refused, the body compensates. When help is accepted, the body completes. Completion matters. Incomplete recovery does not always announce itself dramatically. It shows up years later, as fatigue that lingers, as resilience that feels thinner than it should, as a sense of always carrying something extra. This is not because help was never offered, it is because it was not received. Help is medicine because it reduces demand. Reduced demand restores energy. Restored energy finishes healing. There is also something deeper at work. Being supported after birth teaches the nervous system that vulnerability is safe, that needs can be met without effort, that rest does not lead to collapse. These lessons matter. A nervous system that learns support early does not stay braced for life. It softens more easily. It recovers faster. It trusts the world a little more. Independence after birth may feel empowering in the moment, but it is expensive. Not emotionally, energetically. Ayurveda does not ask mothers to prove strength during the most vulnerable phase of their lives. It asks them to receive strength from their environment. This is not about taking advantage of others. It is about allowing balance. Giving will return. Capacity will rebuild. Strength will come back, stronger and more stable than before. But only if the body is allowed to finish healing first. Help is not something to graduate from quickly. It is something to lean into fully while it is needed. The postpartum body is not designed to defend itself. It is designed to be held. When it is held, it remembers how to hold life with less effort later. Help is medicine, and, like all good medicine, its power lies not in force, but in timing. Accept it now, and the body will thank you quietly for years to come.
Chapter 10. Closing the window. Postpartum is not meant to linger. It is a phase, and like all phases, it is meant to close. Ayurveda teaches that healing is not just about restoring what was lost, it is about completing what was opened. Birth opens the body. physically, energetically, emotionally. Postpartum is the time when that openness is meant to settle back into stability. When this happens fully, the body moves forward with strength. When it does not, the openness remains. An open phase does not always feel dramatic. Often it feels subtle, like never quite feeling finished, like always needing a little more rest than expected, like carrying tension that has no clear origin. This is what Ayurveda means by incomplete closure. Closure is not something you force, it is something you allow. The first 40 days create the conditions for that allowance. Warmth contains the body. Stillness calms the nervous system. Digestion rebuilds tissue. Support reduces demand. Together, these signals tell the body one thing: you are safe to finish. Finishing matters. A phase that closes properly releases energy. A phase that remains open continues to draw from reserves. Many women believe postpartum recovery ends when they feel functional again. Ayurveda sets a different marker. It looks for stability, for ease, for a sense that the body no longer feels exposed. Closure feels quiet. It feels like deeper rest, more consistent energy, a nervous system that no longer scans for danger. When postpartum closes properly, the body stops bracing. Muscles soften, breath deepens, the sense of self becomes more grounded. This does not mean life becomes effortless. It means effort costs less. When closure is rushed, the body compensates. It tightens joints, it conserves energy by staying alert, it adapts to unfinished healing by lowering expectations. These adaptations keep life moving, but they do not restore wholeness. Ayurveda never blamed women for this. It questioned the environment. Postpartum closure requires patience, not indefinitely, just long enough. Long enough for warmth to stabilize, long enough for digestion to regain strength, long enough for the nervous system to trust that it no longer needs to stay on guard. This is why speed is dangerous in this window, not because activity is wrong, but because it interrupts completion. You would not open a door and leave it swinging forever. You would close it gently so the room could hold its warmth. The postpartum body is the same. When closure happens, something profound shifts. The body stops borrowing energy from the future. It stops compensating. It stops adapting around unfinished work. It settles. And when the body settles, resilience becomes natural. This is not about perfection. It is about respecting timing. The first 40 days are not a rule. They are an opportunity to finish well, to move forward without dragging the past behind you, to enter motherhood with a body that feels like a place of support, not survival. What is healed now does not need to be revisited later. What is completed now does not ask for repair. This is why the first 40 days matter. They are not about restriction. They are about release. Release from vigilance. Release from compensation. Release from carrying unfinished healing into the future. Close the window properly. The body remembers how, and when it does, it carries you forward, not with effort, but with strength that lasts.
Closing thoughts, what to carry forward. You do not need to remember every word in this book. You do not need to follow a perfect plan. You do not need to measure your healing. What matters most is understanding. Understanding that the body after birth is not broken, it is unfinished. Understanding that slowness is not failure, it is cooperation. Understanding that rest, warmth, digestion, stillness, and support are not luxuries, they are structural needs. Ayurveda has always trusted the body. It has never rushed it. It has never demanded proof of strength during vulnerability. It has simply observed what happens when the body is protected and what happens when it is not. What you have read here is not meant to create pressure. It is meant to remove it. You are not behind. You are not weak. You have not failed if your postpartum experience did not look like this. The body adapts when it must. That adaptation is not a flaw. It is survival. And survival can always be softened later. If you are still within your postpartum window, let this knowledge guide your choices gently. If you are years beyond it, let it offer explanation rather than regret. Healing is not limited by time. It is guided by understanding. What the body did not receive then, it can begin to receive now. The body listens when conditions change. It listens to warmth, to rhythm, to safety. You do not need to rush forward. You do not need to go back. You only need to begin where you are. The first 40 days matter because they teach us something essential, not just about postpartum, but about life. Healing does not respond to force. It responds to permission. And when the body is given permission to finish its work, it does so with quiet intelligence. Carry that forward. Let it inform how you rest, how you nourish, how you receive support, how you measure strength. Because strength was never about pushing through. It was always about knowing when to soften. And now you know.